Hey, what's going on, everyone? Joshua Jones here with GLHF MTG, back at it again. It's Wednesday, 8 a.m. Central, so that means that it's Deck Tech time. Commander Limited is a series where we do a limited field to Commander. We did it a while back with Guild Restricted, and with Return to Ravnica coming up, you might want to check that out. It's all about the guilds, kind of cool. Put you under restriction somehow of a deck build that you got to follow, and kind of brings another flavor to the game. We're going to be doing Block Constructed, Messing with Mechanics, a Time Walk series, and Commons Commander or Pauper Commander as a part of the Commander Limited series, but today we're going to do dollar decks. So I originally came up with this concept by, well, I didn't come up with it at all. I watched budget MTG decks on YouTube.com, and check their channel out. I'll leave a link in the description. They're an awesome channel. I really like those dudes a lot, so head on over there and give them a watch and a subscribe. Maybe that'd be cool. But basically, they make commander decks using cards that cost $1 or less. I thought that was pretty cool. But to be a little bit of a differentiator, what we're going to consider as dollar decks is any card that you could get for $1 and change. So basically $1.99 or less. Expand the scope all the way out, but not quite to $2. So less than $2. If the card costs, if you can find it anywhere online for that price in paper, then that can go in the deck. And, there we go. So let's jump into it here with today's deck, which is Colorful Counters. They're magically delicious. TM. Ramos Dragon Engine is at the helm today, and as you read this card, if you haven't had a chance to read this creature before, I'll basically explain to you that this card is amazing. Basically, you get colors of mana on your spells, you count them up, and then you put 1/1 counters onto the Dragon Engine equal to that amount. So say you play a spell that costs 2 white blue. Whenever you cast that spell, you're going to add 2 counters, one for the white and one for the blue, to the Dragon Engine. It doesn't matter if the spell resolves or not. And then what you do with those counters is you win with commander damage, or at any point you can remove 5 1/1 counters and add double Wooburg. So white, white, blue, blue, black, black, red, red, and green, green. That's a Wooburg is a white, blue, black, red, green. That's the order. Anyways, you can only do this once each turn, but it really is an engine. And whenever I think about something only happening once per turn, it makes me think about cycles, so that you can maximize that value for however many times you can get the counters on there. And whenever I think about cycles, I think about creature cycles, and I think about cycles in general. So as we check out this John Avon awesome art on these next few slides, let me talk about the cycles that we're running in this deck. Unfortunately, the Esper cycle that I wanted to run is about $3.50. I couldn't find it for $1.99 or less, so Enigma Sphinx takes that spot, and the Cascade, of course, is going to let us cast a spell, and those colors we get the counters for. So that's a pretty cool little deal we got there. Buckle in, too, by the way, because this is like the 10th time I try to record this video, and I'm trying to get it as short as possible, but it's going to be a long one, folks. The cycles that we're running are the 6 mana, 6/6 legendary creature dragon with flying series for all the different shard and wedge color combinations that have the ability, when they deal combat damage, to pay 2 in a color and do something to do something. So I'm going to skip all that other part and just for the rest of these say the something that they do in the color that you got to pay. So anyways, in this case we have 2 black, and then you reveal the hand, you choose a color, reveal the hand, and discard all the colors that are in the hand. Then we have 2 red, choose the color, and then deals damage equal to that number that you have in the hand. 2 green to get 1/1 saplings. 2 white to have some life gain. 2 white to have 3 damage. 2 blue for get an extra spell type of an effect. 2 black to have the creature from the graveyard to the battlefield. 2 red to destroy 2 lands. 2 green to get 6 1/1 counters. So that's our creature cycle, and you see we're running the shard and wedge colors here. And the cool part about all these are that when you cast them, even though they primarily cost 6 mana here, you're going to get 3 mana of that back, kind of, because you're going to add 3 1/1 counters, and then as soon as you get to 5, you get double Wooburg. So you kind of get more than that 3 mana back, essentially, as soon as you get to the 5 counters there. It's kind of like a pretty good investment there. That's kind of be a theme with this whole deck list. So stick with me here. Next up, we're running the Signet cycle. So our ramp package is not going to help out with the +1/+1 counters, but it does stick pretty well with the theme and stays within our $199 budget. Unfortunately, no Soul Ring because it's like $3 somehow. But the Signets, we're running 10 Signets, very flavorful, and does ramp us out here. So we're running all 10 of those. Next up, we're running 25 Charms in the deck. That's right, all the Guild Charms, all the Wedge Charms, all the Shard Charms, and the 5 named creature charms for those creatures. So I'm not going to read all these to you. I'll just leave them up for a second as I explain on this first one what our game plan is here. First of all these are instants. All of them cost colors of mana that you'll get back. So there's no any color or no colorless mana. They all cost colored mana. 2 in this cycle's case. So you choose one on all of them. They're all instants, and they all cost 2 colors of mana that provide utility, whether it be drawing cards, removing creatures, or just other utility. So this one removes a creature and does other things. This one here allows you to counter spells and does other things. This one here allows you to exile graveyard and other things. I'm going to stop saying the and other things part, but I'm just going to name one highlight for the rest of them here because I get pretty ridiculous, I guess. Anyways, this one here we have to deal damage to flying creatures. This one we have to exile 5 or greater. This one we have to return something to our hand, kind of prevent from some removal there. This one we have counter draw damage, so everything on this one. This one we have -1, -1. Here we have some indestructible potential. Here we have some return creature to its owner's hand, a little bit of value there. And then next up we're running the charm cycle continued for the wedge and shards. So this one, same thing, instant, 3 different colors for the counters there, and a little bit more power with these ones because they each cost 1 mana more, and still choosing one. So draw 2 cards. Here we have the -4/-4 effect. Here we have the 2 damage to each creature effect. And of course on this one we're going to be able to tap down all the player's creatures there. On this one we're going to be able to counter an instant. On this one we're going to be able to distribute 2 1/1 counters. Here we're going to be able to deal 4 damage to an opponent. Here we get to draw and discard. Here we get to have power 3 or less creatures not be able to block this turn. Here we get to have an opponent reveal their hand and have them discard a card. Alright, moving on, we have the creature charms that I was talking about earlier, as well as just 5 utility cards that are kind of in the best way we can of a cycle, as we'll see here in a second. Starting it off by gaining 5 life. Here we get to destroy a non-black creature. Here we get to return a creature from graveyard to hand. Here we get to destroy a non-basic land. And finally we get to destroy an enchantment. Then we have White Sun Zenith, which is at instant speed, going to allow us to be able to only add 1 counter to Ramos in the case of this spell, and along with the rest of these. But we get X/2/2s, so some extra little dudes on the battlefield there. Blue Sun Zenith, which is going to allow us to draw X cards, again with only 1/1 counter there, but with these 2 they both shuffle back in, so that's pretty good. And then we have Profane Command, because the Black Sun Zenith is too expensive for our list here, but if you did have the card or have the money, just go ahead and run Black Sun Zenith. And we have some utility here with the choose 2, so lose life, return a creature, -X, -X, and X creatures gain fear until the end of turn. So this one with the having target player lose X life is can be seen as kind of a winning sort of card. Red Sun Zenith, which here we see we pick back up on the Zenith cycle, so this shuffles back in and deals X damage to creature or player. This one might eventually get eroded to say any target, I'm not sure, and then it shuffles back in, so another kind of winning type of card here. And then Primal Command. So Primal Command has a bunch of utility the same as Profane Command that we get to choose to. And this one only costing 5 mana, so no X option on that. I really like X spells a lot because, especially with the Profane Command, because you're going to get 2 black off of the Double Wooburg from your commander if you're casting it with that ability. Add 1 counter back on right away, so you only need 4 more, and then be able to pump 8 into the X on that one, so you kind of see what we're doing there. Alright, moving on, we have just the utility cards. So we start off with Legacy Weapon and Villainous Wealth. Just to talk about Legacy Weapon, you can essentially do the Double Wooburg to remove 2 permanents from the game, and then if this Legacy Weapon hits your graveyard, you get to shovel it right on back in. So a little bit of protection out anyways. With Villainous Wealth, basically what I was saying earlier with the X spells, that I like them a lot, but this one is at sorcery speed, so it will be on your turn, of course. But it allows you to cast spells without paying their mana cost from your opponents that they had to exile there, so that gives you value from your opponent's deck. I believe since you cast them, you do get to add the counters because equal to whatever the colors are, because you are casting them. And even though you're not paying the mana cost, I don't believe that Ramos, and we'll check back again here in a second, cares whether or not you paid for the cost, just what colors are in the casting cost. But we'll check in on that in a bit. Next up, we have Swarm Intelligence to just double up on instants and sorceries, because we're playing so many instants and sorceries in this deck. Unfortunately, the copies aren't cast, so you don't get the colors off the copies, but you do get to double them up. And then Bring to Light is essentially an extra copy of any instant creature or sorcery that's in our deck that cost 5 CMC or less. So I don't believe that there are any creatures in our deck that cost 5 CMC or less. But for instants and sorceries, it's just another copy of that we get to cast without paying a mana cost. So bring it to light. And then All Sun's Dust and Conflux do a couple different things for us. One, Conflux lets us search for a white, blue, black, red, green card. So essentially, it's one card that gets us 5 cards in our hand. And because we're running multi-color spells, you essentially can pretty much search up anything you want. All Sun's Dust does the same thing, but it returns them from the graveyard to the hand. So 2 awesome utility spells here for getting us the cards that we need when we want them. Next up, we have the winning strategy. So we are running some alternate win conditions in this deck with Approach of the Second Sun and Revel in Riches, along with the Double Wooburg spell, Door to Nothingness, that's going to have target player lose the game. So looking into it here on the Ramos Dragon Engine, whenever you cast a spell, put a 1/1 counter on Ramos Dragon Engine for each of that spell's colors. So yeah, so it doesn't look like it cares. Now I'm not a judge, but it doesn't look like Ramos cares if you paid for the cost or not. Just that you cast it and that the spell has colors. So if you are a judge, or if you know, feel free to let us know about that in the comments below. But I believe that's how that will work. So anyways, moving on here, we have the Protect the Engine. So the Dragon Engine is certainly important. We're going to want to run some spells that can protect it. So we're running Gift of Immortality and Shielded by Faith to give it indestructible, and then in the case of Gift of Immortality, makes it like double removal spell essentially to get rid of it. And then Whisper Silk to give some unblockable and some Shroud, and Swiftfoot to give it hexproof and haste. There we go. Next up, we're going to talk about the Gate Maze. So we're running these 10 guild gates in the deck. So for utility lands, all of them the same kind of feel as the signets here, but in this case in the tap land form. And then Mazes End. So what Mazes End is, it lets you pay 3 tap and return it to your hand to search for one of these 10 gate cards. Then if you have 10 gate cards after you activate this ability the final time, you're going to win the game. Plain and simple. Moving on, we're running 6 other utility land cards in this slot, along with 4 of each of these basic lands. So the utility lands that we're running, what I really want to highlight here is Cascading Cataract. So in this deck, you're going to pay 5 and tap it to add 5 mana in any color of combination. So essentially, because you have to tap this land, you get to lose out on the mana that this taps for colorless to filter some of your Wooburg mana into whatever colors you want. Next up, we have the challenge for this deck. So I'm calling this challenge Your Watch Has Ended. And this is during one session, so however many games that is on one day that you play in your play group. Get this: A Maze's End, Approach of the Second Sun, Revel in Riches, Win in the same night, and also get a Ramos Dragon Engine commander kill. So there it is. So one game get a Maze's End, one game get an Approach, one game get a Revel win, and one game get a commander win. So essentially got to play 4 games in one session, and each of those games win in 4 different alternate win condition, and then the Voltron kill way. And then that's it. Your watch is over. So that's your challenge for this deck. Moving on, we have your achievement is in 1 turn. I'm calling this I May Have Had a Hand in It. So you're going to play land. It can be Cascading Cataracts or any other land that you want to play. So you play a land, and then the same turn that you play that land, cast 2 spells that cost Wooburg. So a combination of white, blue, green, red, and black on 2 spells in the turn to add the 5 counters to your commander, and then use your commander's ability of double Wooburg in that same turn to cast 4 other spells. So you're going to end up playing a land and then casting a total of 6 other spells in the same turn. So you go from a 7-card hand to a 0-card hand in 1 turn. What an achievement that would be. All right. And that's not enough. We have the trophy. So in 1 game, I want you to go ahead and get a victory with Ramos the Dragon Engine. I'm just a guy who is a hero for fun. Little one-punch man trophy for you here. So use Ramos Dragon Engine to kill 3 other players in 1 game with the 21 commander damage. That's your trophy. All right. That's going to wrap it up for this one. Check out mtggoldfish.com for the deck list 1279081. And as you can see here, for all 80 cards, so minus the 24 of each basic land, for all 80 cards, $37 online. Not a bad price for this deck, if I do say so myself. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, and comment. And especially if you know how that interaction works with casting other people's spells without paying their cost off of Villainous Wealth. And please go check out Budget MTG decks on YouTube. They're super awesome. So, hey, I'm Joshua Jones with GLHF MTG, reminding you, good luck, have fun. See you next Wednesday. Oh, I completely forgot. Next month on Commander Limited, we're having the Time Walk series where we're going to go to Legends with the Rubinia Soul Singer deck tech. And that's basically where we just take a trip back in history and look at some of the past sets and the commanders that started the whole thing. So check that out. Okay, now I'm done. All right, bye. Bye, 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 bye. Baby, bye, bye, bye.